Welcome in, everybody. It's another episode of the DNVR Rapids podcast. And we are live from the Toyota Lounge, Toyota, the official vehicle of DNVR. I'm your host, Mitchell Carroll, and I am joined by the fellas. We're back. We're all back together. It's Yahir Vazquez.
Yeah.
It's Yahya.
Yeah, it's weird. I haven't heard my full name in a while, if I'm
I know.
honest.
So I just kind of throw it out there.
Zach, every now and then, Broncos beat, calls me Yahir, and I'm like, that's weird.
That's weird.
Don't like
weird.
it.
Try it once. We won't go back to it next week. How about
so
that?
those of you that didn't know, now you know.
We are also joined, of course, by Duane Brown.
Hello. That was also my full name. You probably knew that already.
I do always say your full name. I just had it downtown usually before it. Not the most creative. Probably everybody with the last name Brown has been called downtown blank Brown.
Yeah.
But it just sounds so
Back
good.
in the day, that was a MTV VJ.
Whoa.
Downtown Julie Brown.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
You
Wow.
should
She was
be
cool.
Dwayne the Crown Brown.
Whoa.
Wow.
Unique. You're a king.
I don't know if
You
I
are a king.
Wow.
I did.
Wow.
Wow.
Wow is right. And wow, we have such a cool show coming up. We got a lot to talk about. I wasn't here. I was out of town for the Salt Lake game. You'll get some of my reactions to that. We're going to play a little, I don't want to call them necessarily predictions, but sort of
Fill in the blank.
Yeah, fill in the blank game just to kind of see how we're feeling about the rest of the season, certain players on the roster and stuff like that. And we're going to look ahead to the Minnesota game, maybe touch on some news popping up in the MLS world, and just kind of see where the comments take us. Shout out Crash Carson Plone already in the Toyota chat presented by the 2024 4Runner. Well, let's start with the Salt Lake game. Do you want me to?
Real quick, before... Every time I see El Pelon in the comments,
Yeah.
I want to go, El Pelon! Sí! I don't know why. Just reminds me of my childhood for a reason.
Love it. Love it.
Yeah, go ahead. You start with your thoughts on ourselves since you were in the post game.
I was at a wedding. I watched up to the Rafa goal. So 2-0 lead. My wife made me put the phone away and go to the dance floor, and I tore it up. Of course. And then, and I'm getting updates, and I'm like, okay, 2-2.5. That's a bummer. We just saw this, right? But whatever. It's you're away. It's a rivalry game. Can't just assume you go up 2-0 and it's over. I get back to the hotel before we're all going out for some post gaming, and I turn it on in the 82nd minute, basically, right before the disasters.
Yep.
And of course, I was like mad and
Upset and all those
upset,
things.
and I was like, what the hell are we doing? And how do you set yourself up to to have two different leads on the road and blow it? But I watched it again in full. I've watched the highlights a few times, just trying to see positioning and all that. And like, you make that sub with a 3-2 lead to go defensive. It's immediately a foul set piece. It's a free kick and then a corner. Right. So you don't even get to have a run of play with this defensive lineup. And all of a sudden now it's a tie game and you need to chase it. But you're already committed to a defensive structure. And, it's easy to second guess and say, we blew it, shouldn't have gone to that structure, blah, blah. But the game dictated it. And before you could even get a run of play, it had changed, right? And if you had those subs waiting on the sideline and that corner kick happened, you change those subs and Armas changes up how he does it, I think, right? So it sucked. Giving up that last goal really sucked. The exclamation point was brutal. But look, you already got one in Salt Lake, and now if you beat them at home, you win the cup. Would have been better to grab that draw, grab that win. Obviously, you blew 2 leads. But I think I'm less upset about the process and the result than I was in real time.
Makes sense.
Does that track with you guys? I don't know how you're feeling.
I mean, that's usually how it goes, right? After you get some time to regurgitate everything that happened, you kind of start seeing, hey, it made a little bit more sense.
Yeah.
Because you're not a prisoner of the moment anymore.
Right.
So I can see where you're coming from for sure. Either way, I think conceding into a defensive formation that early knowing that extra time was gonna cut, added time was coming as well,
Yeah.
and it was gonna be 5+ because of all the fouls, all the goals that were scored at that point. It
Yeah.
felt like it was too early because I
too
think you have to do it around minute 87.
Honestly,
when
even
about
into
eight-
extra time to waste time if you still have the lead.
Exactly.
Right.
About 8 minutes of that is okay, but you're gonna go almost for 20 minutes
Yep.
doing that. In my opinion, that's where he kind of messed up. Not going defensively, it also going too early on that.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Look, I thought Rafa looked really good. I thought Cole played awesome as always. Still running his little butt off the whole time. Sam Vines still kind of waiting for the Sam Vines game. I think he's
We talked about it. I thought he actually had a good game. He was like actually a contributor this one.
yeah. There was some sketchy moments, but he was a contributor.
But I don't think it was anything that burned them.
No.
Which is the good thing. Which
Sure.
usually it does lead to them getting burned.
Right. I'm still just waiting for the real offensive, 2 assists, goal and an assist, like that's Sam Vines over there kind of game. And, I think we'll get there. I do. But it's just been tough. All in all, that was a great game. If you're say you're an East Coast MLS fan and your game's up and you tune into Rocky Mountain Cup, you had a lot of fun watching that game.
As a neutral, it was a good
Right?
game.
Like that was a really fun game. Both teams went for it. There was no, if Frazier was up 3-2, he would have shelled up at 70.
Yep.
Right? And that game would have been over even faster. Right? So I enjoyed it. Results sucked. Team seemed to be in pretty good spirits at practice. I don't know. Do you have any other takes from this game you want to get into before we kind of move into practice and looking ahead and stuff like that?
Duane?
I don't feel any different than I did on Saturday. I'm still super disappointed in the subs and how the end of the match went. That's just me, and that's why I'm not a pro coach. I hate parking the bus. I think it's the worst strategy when you don't have a absolute shutdown, lockdown defense, and we don't. And it's just inviting the team to take, here's your target practice for the day. Take as many shots as you want. And to me, law of averages, I don't like that strategy at all. Like, we were pressing pretty hard. We were scoring goals. Scored 3 goals.
Out of ourselves.
Yeah. And that's, when you're clicking on offense, for me, it's all gas, no brakes. Like,
Sure.
Keep pressing, keep pushing, keep them on their heels. They can't score if they're running for their lives. And again, that's why I'm not a coach, because that probably doesn't work either. But that's what I wanted to see, just because I hate that team, and I wanted us to finish them. I needed that Mortal Kombat finish them, fatality, end it, and we kept letting them come back. So my feelings are the same. Question just came up. Feelings on Zach's performance. I don't think it was great. Going back and looking at some of it, there were some goals that were given up that.
The first goal of the game, he handed to him.
Looking, when you're the 4th highest paid, we were looking at salary earlier. When you're the 4th highest paid goalkeeper in the league, you got to come up big on shots, especially that first one, like Mitch is saying. So that's just my feelings on it, Pelon, and
I can only really put blame on him on 2 of them, in my opinion, which is that first one
Oh, God.
and that corner, that one that got snuck in the near post. Those 2 should never go in. Those 2 are ones that you have to control. But kind of getting into what you're saying, I do think the Rapids should have controlled this game a lot more. I think they let RSL dictate the game, and you should never let that happen. You should play your own game, not what the other team is playing. And also, I think the subs are bad, but mostly because I think Ronan came in the wrong time. Ronan should not be the guy that's your defensive mid when you're trying to park the bus.
Right.
Kid doesn't even work when you're winning.
Correct.
So why would you do it at that point when
you're down, need to score?
Exactly.
Like sub, yeah.
Exactly. And I think that's the thing. And I don't want this to become a habit of theirs where they're up 2-0 or something and they immediately give up that lead back. And we've seen it 2 weekends in a row now.
Sure.
Look, this defensive lineup, Didn't work against San Jose. Didn't work here in Salt Lake. We first saw it against Dallas. They were up 2-0. Concede a late goal. I mean, it was a beautiful goal. It's not, you know, like, you can't really blame them for giving up that goal. But, you know, we haven't seen them go defensive and give up no goals yet, which is kind of the point, right? So I think this defensive lineup has now given up 5
Wow.
in about 30 minutes or less of actual MLS gameplay. So, you know, it's definitely something to keep an eye on. I do think it's a matter of finding the right parts, and it's experiment. And it's why I was kind of so, you know, we've mentioned it on this show, but it's, this is why you need to experiment earlier in the year and not just rely on an 11 that you found that worked.
Yeah.
Right. And it's nice that you have an 11 that you know works, right? The starting 11, I think, especially with Harris and O'Meara together up top, it's a great 11. Like, that's a good MLS 11. You're going to win a lot of games. But if you're all of a sudden like, oh, what if we try this for this? You know, it's just like there's too many first times in big games at this point in the season, you know, over a third of the way through the season. You wish you have seen that more. And, you know, even if it was like in San Jose up 3-0, just play 30 minutes of that, right? Just so you get it, just so you see, just so you kind of figure out those passing networks and who plays well next to who, and then you can even make another sub to supplement that later in that game. And it's just, you know, little moments like that that I think have caught up to them, and it's part of the process, right? This Armas project is not a couple months long. It's not one season long. It's a long-term bid, and so you're going to see some growing pains, and we saw it especially in this game, right? So, pretty tough.
Yeah.
But you learn from it. You move on. You know, I was at training yesterday. They were talking about how it was a very honest film study before they go out to training, but it was positive. You know, this team is still playing together and for each other, and I think the work rate's not going to disappear overnight. So I don't think you have to so much worry about that. But they talk to each other, and I'm pretty sure it was like, hey, you mess this up, you mess this up, you mess this up. You know, you have to be here. You need to know that this is here. And, you know, overall, I think I'm not too concerned moving forward. They're in the middle of a very tough schedule.
Yeah.
You're playing top of the West after top of the West after top of the West after top of the West. Home, away, home, away.
That's why that San Jose game means more than anything.
Yes, correct.
That's the one I even told Duane. That one's the one that hurts because you were up against a bad team, and you let them back in at home. Yeah. That's the one that the RSL, you score 3. That's usually enough. It didn't work out this time. They're a very potent offense. It happens. But that San Jose game is so critical now looking back at it.
Yeah. Yeah, you saw, look, practice, there was a lot of find the extra pass in front of goal, right? And I don't know if there was something that they saw. I was looking for it last night when I kind of watched through again quickly. I don't think there was a lot of moments where another pass gets you another goal in this game. I think they took their chances well. I think the distribution in and around the box was pretty sharp, really. I don't think they left a lot on the table, but you know, I think, well, I mean, just look at the guys, you know, on this team right now that have opportunities to score. You look at like a Jonathan Lewis, who's in a contract year, who is probably only going to get 10, 15, 20 sub minutes and probably not every week, right? Yeah. So he's going to get on the field, and he needs to get on the score sheet if he wants another big contract somewhere, right? Yeah. And so, you know, he was kind of pushing tough angle shots, and it was all right, like, let's roll this back, you know, find that extra pass. If you have your teammate over here going like this, it's for a reason, you know, find each other. Finishing was a little rough early, and I think that was sort of why Armas was saying, you know, let's not get tunnel vision on goal. And then all of a sudden they couldn't miss, and they were just hitting banger after banger for probably 10, 15 minutes to end practice. Yeah. Rafa took a super clean penalty again. I just don't know if he's ever missed a penalty in his life. It doesn't seem like it. It's just automatic. And then, you know, talking to him afterwards, you know, we talked to Cole. He's really excited about Ronan getting back on the field. How are you guys feeling about Ronan getting back on the field?
Go ahead, Duane. I want you to start positive, or let me start negative, and then we'll go back to positive.
Negative. I love it.
It's not going to work because defensively, there's the biggest problem for the Rapids right now, and they've allowed a lot of goals. They've let Zach to drive a couple of times. good as Bombi and Maxu have been, you do need somebody that can help him out at times. And I don't think Ronan's that guy. Now, if you change the formation into a 4-4-2, but instead of playing the four as wingers and you play as a diamond, and you have Jordy and then Cole on the left, then you have Ronan on the right and Ollie as your pure six, I think that works. That covers a lot more space because defensively, you can still cover as a 4-4-2 flat, and then you can come back offensively and still attack the way you like to attack. But that also allows Ronan to be that playmaker on the right, the way Cole is on the left. Now, if you put Ronan in there with just Cole, I think that's when you get into a lot of problems in transition, and that's I think where Ollie's aggressiveness, physicality really helps out this team because it also gives them another playmaker in the back. And I wouldn't like to see that 1-for-1. I would like to see him incorporated, especially with wingers being iffy. Having a double striker up there with maybe Rafa and Calvin might be kind of fun, or Rafa and Omir.
Rafa I think that new striker X in the summer.
Exactly. I'd rather see one of the wingers up there because they can also pull up wide and they're really good at service. Honestly, it should probably be Calvin because of that reason. But I think that formation would fit him a lot more and you can really take advantage of the talent in the midfield that you have. But just going 1-for-1, Ollie and Ronan, to me, just seems like a bad idea.
I don't think that was negative at all. Like, I actually feel the more we've talked all season, and the more I agree with you on that. Like, I wonder almost if last year, because under a Fraser system where everybody on the team was on the defense, that if there's not a better position for Ronan to be his best self, and I don't think it's that defensive mid either at the 6. So I think when we've seen Ronan shine the most is that his passes are like FIFA cheat level. You know, when someone's coming in from the side, like he can put those long passes right on the winger's boot, you know, or whoever's up front. Excuse me. So finding a role for him to where he's not locked into that defensive mid, but is in something that's a little more open in space, I think is where Ronan's going to be like that's the Ronan that we all enjoy watching. Like the ankle breaking and just, you know, schooling dudes and running past them and then getting those long passes. That's the Ronan we all enjoy watching. So it's like, I want to find a position where he can just do that and not have to play a position that is not his position. How many times have we all said that Cole is a 10 and now he's not, and he's having, I think, the best season he's ever had in Burgundy.
Right. You know, I think, and you brought up the 4-4-2, right? Yep. And I do think that kind of is the solution here, right? Where Ronan and Cole can almost be wingers. Yeah. Right, with Georgie and Ollie, and you can all kind of take turns being everywhere in that 4. And everyone has the skills to distribute, everyone has the skills to make runs. You know, I think Ollie getting more runs with the ball at his feet can open up everybody like that. Like you said, Ronan can just find those guys, right? I think there's room, and I think it's going to take experimentation. The problem is you have such a tough schedule that experimentation is a scary word right now.
Yep.
Yeah, that injury wiped out a lot of experimenting time.
Yeah,
for sure.
Really tough. So, overall, I think they have a very good chance in this Minnesota game. Nothing about the RSL game makes me think they can't win this game. Nothing about training says
unless they're up 2-0.
Unless they're up 2-0. Don't go up 2-0.
Yeah. Go up 4-0. Like, just let's start with that.
Let's just get as many goals and then
let's try
to be defensive.
That. Score 4 goals first and then mess around.
Yeah,
but
mess around a little bit.
But real quick, if you do go back into that 4-4-2 diamond, it also allows Vines to be a bigger vocal piece offensively because he's going to be basically your left winger at that point, and then you can go into a back 3 if you're trying to attack, and you don't have to push Keegan out so high up, and you're not left with that empty hole on the right sometimes that he can't recover. If you do that, Vines can just push all the way up, basically be your left winger, and then you just push Calvin to the right, and you got Jordy a bunch of space in the middle now where Ronan and Cole can operate in the half spaces, and that helps them out too, and that just becomes so fluid that it becomes a rotating diamond where wherever the player needs to be, they're going to be, because all 4 players, in my opinion, are great at creating plays, all four midfielders. The only thing that you're going to need is somebody that can step up defensively, and I think Cole and Ollie would be that, and they would be the ones that become pivots, basically, and then Ronan comes out wide with the help of Keegan, who's a great defender.
Yeah, I think that really makes a lot of sense. All right, that's going to do it for this segment. Right now, we have to talk about our friends at Toyota. Trucks have always been a part of Toyota's DNA. For generations, Toyota has built durable legends destined for greatness and perfect for Colorado. Whether you're conquering off-road trails or hauling your ass back from a loss at RSL, there's a truck that's right for you, like the all-new 2024 Tacoma and the return of the iconic 2024 Land Cruiser coming this spring. Toyota offers 17 models with available all-wheel drive or four-wheel drive like the Epic 4Runner. Toyota also currently offers more low and zero-emission vehicles combined than any other automaker to give customers numerous choices to reduce their carbon footprint. There are 16 different hybrid vehicles to choose from, like the Tundra iForce Max hybrid truck, and Toyota SUVs can take command of the road and on the trail so you can explore the road less traveled with sacrificing smooth city rides and SUVs like RAV4 and Grand Highlander, especially one with a big old hashtag stay on parade on it. A little sad now, but I thought that was awesome. Thank you, Toyota. Toyota is a proud partner of the Colorado Rapids and the official vehicle of DNVR. Visit your partner's Toyota stores at a location near you. AutoNation Toyota, Arapahoe and Centennial, Corwin Toyota in Boulder, Groove Toyota in Littleton, Mountain States Toyota in Denver, Stevenson Toyota East in Aurora, and Stevenson Toyota West in Lakewood. Shout out to Toyota. We are also brought to you by our friends at Fubo TV. God, we love Fubo. We watch so much sports on Fubo. But we don't just watch sports. There's over 140 plus live channels, sports shows, movies, and news. You can stream live TV from all your devices. You can watch the most Colorado sports at the lowest possible price point, and you start watching immediately with a free trial. Go over there right now. Start watching. There's no contract. There's no cable. There's no hassle. You just sign up and you start watching. 1,000 hours of cloud DVR included at no extra charge. It's a whole bunch of sports banked if you want to watch your wins again. And you can watch local teams while traveling. Guess what? The Rockies, they're on Fubo, so make sure you check them out all season long. You got NFL offseason, you got Copa, Euros, all sorts of stuff to watch on Fubo. You can watch all your favorite sports, including the Rockies. Go to www.fubotv.com/DNVR. That's fubotv.com/DNVR to sign up for 15% off your first month of Fubo Pro. All right, we're back. DNVR Rapids. Mitch, Yahya, Duane, super producer Alyssa.
And real quick before we go forward, if you guys are on Twitter, come to the YouTube channel. Give us a thumbs up here. Join the chat. It's the best place to watch the show.
Yeah.
If you are already on YouTube, give us a thumbs up. We really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
And subscribe to our YouTube channel. It helps out everybody at DNVR.
Yeah, if you're watching on Twitter, we appreciate it, of course. But jump over here. Jump in the Toyota chat. Talk to us.
It's
Ask
the
us some
funnest way to be a
questions.
part of Rapids lore.
No, it's the way to do it, baby. All right, yeah, you came up with a nice little game here. It's called Fill in the Blank. I'm going to send these to you guys. We're going to just kind of look ahead, right? This is sort of a nice little checkpoint, a little, what do we find here? Blank has to step up in order for the Rapids to stay in playoff contention.
You want me to go first? Who wants to go first?
Go for it. I didn't look at these ahead of time. I wanted to just kind of.
Okay, well, you're going last,
Shoot from
so
the
you
hip.
have time.
Okay.
No, it's fine. I'll go whenever.
I'm going to say Omir has to step up
Okay.
in order for the Rapids to stay in playoff contention. And the reason I say that is because you just need one of the wingers to be good if you're going to stick with this 4-3-3 because they're such a pivotal part of this formation. Right now, I think we've had 2 games where Omir and Calvin have been decent and they've really helped the Rapids be more of an attacking force. But we need them to be consistent. We need them to be good. And I think Omir would be the key, especially because I think Calvin is really good at a striker position and can kind of be your backup striker. But I really, really need Omir to just take that role. And in the summertime, they can just go look for something else. Go look for a helping hand. If you have that, it makes everybody's job a lot easier up front. And it makes Rafa into the goal-scoring threat that he already is and can continue being for the Rapids.
Yeah, I think that's a really good call. I think Omir has shown impact, but not necessarily the scoring or assisting that you want to see on the score sheet. But I think his impact has definitely been felt. So I think that's a really good call out. Duane, who do you got?
I was going to say wingers, but you kind of covered that already. So
I thought Duane was gonna go last.
yeah, it's fine. I jump in.
He said he wanted to go whenever. So
Yeah, I go whenever.
Putting
I'll
him
go
to the
whenever.
test.
It's all good.
This is the podcasting gauntlet right here.
I'm gonna go Sam Vines.
I should have gone.
That's what you get, Mitch. That's what you get. I'm gonna go Sammy Vines for all the reasons that mostly Mitch talked about earlier. We've talked about this in earlier shows. It kind of looks like Sammy is having kind of the Cole season of last year, where he's trying to figure it out. He's back to playing way more minutes than he did in Europe, and we saw it start to click, start to really kick in for Cole about 2/3 of the way through the season. And then like Cole Bassett became the guy, for the end of the season. If that could happen sooner for Sammy Vines, by halfway through the season, which we're approaching very quickly, I think that's really going to push this team over the top for situations like RSL, where we're up and then a couple of mistakes are made, and then we find ourselves fighting, to get back to a tie or in the lead. So I think Sammy Vines is one of those pieces that will really solidify the team and become that cement to kind of connect both, the defense and the forwards, because he's running as that connector, or at least we want him to.
Yeah, Vines. When you don't expect him to come in and be a lockdown defensive guy, right? He's not Keegan. He's kind of the left hand and right hand of Keegan. Kind of, they're both able to get up, but Keegan is so solid defensively and in distribution, and then you have the creative left side of that where he can kind of force stuff offensively. We just haven't gotten that part yet. Yeah. I think we will. I think his defense has gotten a lot better throughout the season. I think it was a pretty bad start to the season, and it's gotten a lot better. And so, good call there, Duane.
You can also be Sam Vines. They don't have to be three different things.
Yeah, I just don't know.
Boom! I just changed the rules again.
You know what? No. It's Georgie. It's Georgie.
I was wondering if one of you guys are going to say Georgie. Yeah.
It's Georgie. Yeah. He had the dominant LAFC game, and then he's his corner service has gotten a lot better in the last month. He's found some assists. He got on the goal sheet against Salt Lake. That was such a silly goal. He scores some silly goals, and I love it.
Yeah. A lot of knee goals.
But 2 is a lot because 0 is normal. So 2 in 14 games is crazy.
And a game they play with their feet is kind of weird.
We just need to see some more consistent impact. He's highly paid. He costs a lot of money, and it's just been a little roller coastery. Nothing dramatic, right? No extremes either direction. I mean, the LAFC game was, unreal, right?
Yeah.
But, for the most part, I think he's being steady Eddie, but that level just needs to be up higher. He's been good. I don't really have a lot of complaints about him, but if they really want to solidify themselves as a top half playoff team, he needs to be Georgie.
Exactly,
and so I think he's well on the way. I just need to see a little more consistently.
Of course.
All right, next one. Probably need to go a little faster on these, but that's okay. Rafa needs blank for the Rapids to pay the full 4.5. Duane, you want to go first?
Yes. A Rapid Man Jump Man tattoo on the other side of his neck.
Oh, hell yeah.
That's what I need to see. That's $4.5 million. I'm good. Yeah. Or Mitch, what do you got? That tells me he's committed, so he's all in.
I mean, Rafa looks like he wants to be here. He looks happy right now. He looks like he's enjoying his time in Denver.
He does.
For me, the thing I need to see from Rafa, I think he needs 2 more goals. Run of play goals.
Sure.
I'm going to say that. I'm not saying penalties don't count, but those give you a little bit more assurance that, like, hey, this guy can score at any moment. It's not just from the spot, although he's really good at it. But if you get 2 more goals, that puts you up at 11.
He'll be at 10 with 2 more.
At 10?
Yeah. 8 and 14.
Exactly. 8 again. It might already be worth it.
It's worth
but
it.
If I'm just throwing something up, he's already at, I think, with 8, and then he has 2 assists. He's at 10 goal contributions. I said he needed 11 before,
right.
So 2 more
He'll
goals
get
is
it.
just like added on top.
He's gonna be at probably. I think I said they still have 6 games between now and the end of his loan. So, if he's at his pace, you're looking at like 11 goals and 3 assists.
About.
Right? So you're in the neighborhood of 15 goal contributions, and we said 8 to 10
Yeah.
on this pot. So, like, to me, he's worth it. Now, it is Porig's job to not pay that $4.5 million and to pay less and to remove the DP tag if he can. But at this point, he's producing like a DP striker, and I don't have really any complaints. I think if that's the price it takes, because Palmeiras knows that if that loan's up, they can shop him to anybody, right? Yeah. So if the only way to lock that in is pay it, then just pay it. Just pay it. Kroenke paid like $160 million for Declan Rice and Jurrien Timber last year. They could afford 4.5 to keep Rafa here.
It's crazy that I was like, don't pay the $4.5 million for Rafa. Now we're at a point where like, if that's the only way you can get him, pay it.
Yeah.
Like,
pay it.
What a turnaround, man.
That's nothing, especially when you consider what it took to get the guys in the offseason that have been impact guys.
Yeah.
Right? Like, just consider half of that spent on Zach, and then you're fine.
Exactly.
Right? Like, say it costs 2.2 for Zach and 2.2 for Rafa. Okay, cool. That's great. Right? Yeah. Zach was free. Like, he's expensive wages wise, but
yeah,
I just think you just do it. Just do it. I don't know. He's been good. Barring a bizarre anti-run of form, I just lock it in. Okay, Rapids need blank the most in the transfer window.
I'll go first because I'm going to take the easy one, and it's a winger.
Interesting.
They need the winger the most. If they're if they stick to this 4-3-3, the winger is so essential for what they're doing here. I don't think Cabral, J. Lou, I don't know, name me another winger out there that hasn't produced. Like, even Omir and Calvin haven't really produced as much. You need a guy that can be up there with Rafa and help him out. That's also scoring, but it's getting them good service. I like the Omir Rafa connection, but you just need another guy that can be thrown in there at any time. I think a winger is so important for this team.
Yeah. Duane?
6? Might go with the defensive mid. Like, not even as a starter, but to have someone reliable that when we do have to switch things up and pull Ollie out or Cole comes out, I want to have somebody we can depend on that can come in that is a true 6, that can lock things down. We saw what parking the bus looks like. It don't look good. So let's get someone in who it doesn't even doesn't have to be the starter, because I like the way this squad is set up in the, with Ollie and Cole, playing their positions right now. But if we decide we're going to park the bus, or if somebody gets hurt, or we want to give some guys a rest because of the upcoming schedule, then, I think having somebody solid back there is something that would really help this team from giving up 2-goal leads.
Midfield depth is really important.
Yeah.
And that's something that you hit on perfectly.
There's 2 positions that neither of you brought up that I think they need. They need some depth at outside back.
Yep, that's the other one I was
because
thinking
I don't
about.
think you can fully trust Seb and Jackson Travis, although I do like both of them as prospects. I really like Jackson Travis. He's so fast, good with the ball. I just think you want, you need a beta back there, right?
Yeah.
And just someone that is so sound and is no question, and has seen it, on a lot of levels. And then, the other one is they need a striker.
Yeah.
Because Yappy's not doing it. They need to get Yappy in a situation. They need to find a USL Championship side that wants a striker and was willing to give him minutes and let him score goals at a lower level, and then bring in some depth striker that you actually think can contribute a goal off the bench. Because right now, there's no way you can have confidence when Yappy comes on that he's going to get on the score sheet. Exactly. We're looking at like 2,000 MLS minutes here without a goal. He has 1 assist. So that is by far to me the biggest one. Okay. Blank will be in the MLS team of the season.
I think we're all going to say, there's 2 players in my opinion.
Should we all say it on 3?
The one
yes, because that would be funny.
1, 2, 3.
Cole Bassett.
Oh, see,
What did you say?
Bombi.
Oh,
Yeah, I think
Bombi. Yeah.
There's that rumor out there that Colorado's looking at other defenders out in River Plate already. There's a reason for that. Like,
It's River Plate.
yeah, I think so.
It's not Plate.
I mean, it's River Plate. Like,
Really?
Yeah, like it's not that different.
Wow.
I think. Don't quote me on this. I don't follow them closely
But
enough.
if you don't tell me how to say it, I'm
Yeah,
screwed.
it's fine. We're not Argentinian. I'm Mexican, Argentinian.
That's true.
Go yell at them.
Okay.
But I just think Bombi has proven himself to be one of the up and coming players of the MLS. He's already being touted in Europe. Like, people are looking at him because of the athletic traits that he has, because he's been so good defensively.
Yeah.
Clean sheets and the goals allowed are not going to help him. But I think talent-wise, it's very obvious that he's one of the best defenders in the league.
I think he kind of had a rough game.
Oh, he did. No, it definitely did. But 1 out of 12, 11 games,
Right.
it's not bad.
It was his worst game of the year.
Oh, easily. Not even...
So don't watch that film if you're a voter for. All right. Rapids will finish blank in the West.
6th.
6th? I'm going to say 4th.
Fifth means a home playoff game, right? Because
Fourth.
one gets a bye.
I think so. I'm not sure, but I think so.
Assuming they don't change the rules mid-season like
They did last year.
they like to do.
As they do.
I'll say fifth.
5th? Right in the middle?
I'll say fifth. That's right in the middle. I think decision day could move them anywhere from 6th to 4th to 3rd.
I think it's going to be like from 2nd all the way to
I think the
literally
last
10th.
month of the season is going to be crazy, and I think they should be very happy about how the schedule looks now in terms of who they're playing then, because your difficult stretches are going to be done by 4th of July. So, I mean, look, nothing is easy if you're the Rapids, so I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. But if you are in even a decent spot by 4th of July, I think you add a spot or two up just because you've gotten the tough ones out of the way. So if you're 6th or 5th at 4th of July, I could see you going as high as 4th or 3rd. Now, does that mean I think you're going to make a run to the conference final or the cup? So I don't know if I'm there yet. But schedule-wise, game-to-game wise, where you're more working on yourself than on the opponent, like in a playoff setting, is the opposite. So, yeah. All right.
One real quick thing is that I do have faith in the transfer window
Me too.
to get some depth in.
Mm-hmm.
The depth is the thing that I think if they do that, they can really climb up those standings.
Staying healthy, too, which for the most part, they're pretty healthy.
Knock on wood.
Nice. Drew Moore bobblehead up there. Shout out.
Shaking in his head.
Yeah, that's right. He agrees with us. Any dream target? There's some movement. There's some guys.
Yeah, there is.
They're gettable.
I really haven't looked deep.
I mean, this
yet.
is for a whole nother podcast where we research, but I was just wondering if you had like a...
I mean, I still love Santiago Moreno out in Portland. I think that's a guy at U22. You could probably get him on a little bit cheaper deal with some GAM. You have another great winger, maybe even Anthony out there. Portland is starting to really dip down. So I think that's a team that you can go in there and pull some pieces out that you might like.
Wow, it's like they brought in Neville to coach their team. We saw that one coming. All of us. Look, I just find some goals. Whoever it is, buy goals. Like, that's the point of the transfer market, is to buy goals for your team, to buy wins. And I just can't see that window close, and we're still looking around hoping that Kevin Cabral and Johnny Lewis all of a sudden figure out how to overperform XG, because it's not going to happen. Like, we just have too big of a sample size to think that those guys are going to find the goals for us. So, got to find some goals.
I'm willing to dump J. Lou, 50K in GAM, and maybe a first-round pick.
Yes.
For nothing in return.
Yes.
Just literally.
Here's a first-round pick to take J. Lou. Oh, God. That's
literally. Nothing against J. Lou. I think it's time here in Denver.
It's change of scenery time for real. All right, we are going to look ahead to some Minnesota, get some predictions in, things you hope to see, subs, changes, whatever. But first, we got some friends to talk about. And, man, are they good friends of ours here at DNVR. It's our friends at Breckenridge Brewery. Check out Breck Brew's new West Coast style IPA, Ridge Runner. It's a double dry hop brew. It's inspired by the untamed beauty of Colorado's trails. Hop back, infused with whole cone hops and a double dose of citrolupulin powder, creates notes of bright citrus and pine. Look, we love our Breck beers here at DNVR. That's no secret. They're at every event we do. They're at the bar. It's like half our taps. They are our official craft beer here at DNVR. Breck Brew has a beer for any occasion, and there's no better way to watch a game than having some Breck Brews. Breck Brew has been doing it for 33 years, and it all comes down to their love and passion for making good beer. And it's made with 100% renewable energy. Try out some of our favorites, the Avalanche Amber Ale, Mile High City, Broncos Country Pale Ale, Fun Slinger, Good Company Hard Seltzer, Mountain Beach if you're a Yaya guy.
Sours, baby. Strawberry Sky.
Ugh.
Summertime.
So good.
Yeah.
Check out the beer locator at breckbrew.com to find a brew near you. Also, we got a whole bunch of stuff going on over at DNVR. Tons of events this summer. If you are a sports fan, and you can start planning for the fall because we got some big events this fall at DNVR. We partnered with True Fan Travel for a big old trip to Tampa to watch the Broncos take on Tampa. You get the whole package, right? That's flights, hotel, meet and greet with ex-Bronco players, tailgate, game, transportation. It's as, I mean, that's as good as it gets.
You can catch me out there on my birthday, too, if you guys want to go.
Bust a road trip into Nebraska and Orlando to take on the Cornhuskers in Central Florida. I will be part of that Nebraska game. It's going to be super fun. Never been to a game in Lincoln. They're the most hated team to me in college football, and I can't wait to watch that game. And all those packages are through True Fan Travel. Make sure to check it out. We got our second annual Midsummer Open at Broken Tea, so check that out. All this is DNVR.com/events. Check it out. And we got Rockies Takeovers too. Make sure you hit up all that. Check it out. And we'll be tweeting through it over at DNVR_sports. All right, guys, we're back. DNVR Rapids. Mitch, Yaya, Duane, Alyssa. Hanging out with you on a beautiful, beautiful Wednesday morning in the Mile High City. How are you guys feeling about this game? Minnesota is flying, and they're doing it without some guys.
Yeah.
Right? And they look structured. They look bought into this new system. This is another game with an Armas connection, too.
Which one? Oh, I know which one it is now. Yeah. Took me 30 seconds to figure that out.
So, obviously, he spent time at Manchester United after Toronto.
Yeah.
And Eric Ramsey was the set-piece coach while he was there. Yeah. He said I asked him about it, right? I said, you kind of just keep having these games where it's like the Armas connection. You bring in anything extra to it. And he's like, look, me and Eric were friends. Our families got to know each other and spend time together, and we still check in with each other and talk. But like the New York game, I'm going to show up, say, hey, how's it going? Shake his hand, and then I'm going to try and win the game.
Yeah,
right?
Of course.
Like, that's pretty much all it is to it. Nothing extra for him. But do you guys feel that this is like a very important game for the Rapids and for Chris Armas?
It's an important game for the Rapids because it's a 6-point swing. We're about getting into the middle of the season where standings are starting to get a little bit more solidified. You're starting to realize which teams are actual contenders, which teams are kind of playoff teams. Oh, sorry. But it's important because if you can beat them, that's a 6-point swing. You go up 3 and they go down 3, basically. That's the most important. West games are now going to be so key for your playoff standings. Now that you are actually in the mix, that you got to start taking this a lot more seriously than you were any other games. And a team that's right there around where you're at, it just has to be a win at the end of the day.
Minnesota's 24 points and in second place with just 12 matches played to the Rapids 14 and 21 points. So you can level them on points with a win. They'll still have 2 matches in hand that they'll have to make up at some point. But pretty good if you can match the second team in the West on points.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. Duane, what's your confidence level right now?
It's not high.
Really?
We've dropped 2 in a row after leading. I think
no. They won in the middle of that.
San Jose.
Vancouver.
And then they beat Vancouver 2-0 at home.
I forgot about Vancouver.
Who is a very good team.
Yeah, that's true. I forgot about Vancouver. My bad.
That's okay. It's easy to...
I'm focused on,
of course
on the disappointment.
Classic Pidsman over here, dude.
Only the
Wallow
negatives.
in the misery, yeah.
It hurts. It hurts. Yeah, that does make me feel a little bit better.
There you go. Look at us.
I forgot that we had a win in there. So I'm getting old. My memory's not what it used to be. I think I think this team is very, very, very good.
Yeah.
I honestly think this team might be better than Real Salt Lake. This could be the hardest team that we've played thus far this season. That's just how highly I think of this Minnesota team. I predicted Minnesota to be absolute garbage this year, given their coaching situation coming into the season, all of the Reynoso drama. And not only has that not affected them, but they have outplayed every expectation I think anyone had on them so far. They had an easy win, in their last game because they got to play Portland. But they are just strong. Their attack is strong. Their defense is very much like high press, aggressive. So it's going to create problems. And it's one of those games where we see the Rapids a lot kind of break into those long passes, when they get a little desperate and they start taking these weird long passes. That's not going to work against a team like Minneapolis. Like, their defense is far too aggressive for that. So it's going to force us to be very exact in possession, a lot of short passes that are on target. There's not going to be a lot of room for mess ups, for lack of better soccer terminology. It's going to have to be crisp. The passing in the midfield is going to have to be crisp.
Does it make you feel a little bit better knowing that Tapias is out?
Yeah, I was going to say. Big one. Tapias gets the red card in stoppage time.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
And so you have a starting center back out. Obviously no Reynoso, although they've done this well without Reynoso the whole season. But
Lot is just
Reynoso is just not even in.
Sure, but I mean, it's like they're kind of hasn't really mattered who's been in or out.
Yeah.
But it does encourage me a little bit, right? That to me is like, oh, maybe we do see some Omir magic in this, because it's not just about Tapias not starting, right? It's about, okay, well, now your sub is that much worse too at the end of the game, right? And, I think the best thing the Rapids can do in this game against such a compact, organized squad like Minnesota is use their speed to their advantage, right? And I would, you'll probably see another, double winger sub like you've seen a lot, right? So whether it's the Harrison Omir starter group, which I think everyone that likes and is pretty happy with, bring on Lewis and Cabral for 20 minutes and let them keep up that pace and keep that defense working. But mostly I think it's going to come down to Colin Georgie, as it usually does.
Yeah,
right?
And again, their backup is Arriaga. So it's still just another dude you got to deal with at the end of the day. It's interesting, too, because last game they lined up in a back five against Portland. So they're trying to be defensive. They were on the road. Maybe we see the same thing. Maybe the Rapids get a lot of opportunities. It's going to be on the final third for the wingers and the attackers to really finish it off. Because if they line up the same way, they're going to have chances to score. They're just going to have to get the ball in the back of the net for this to be a competitive game.
Do you think this is a breakout game for who? We're going to play another fill in the blank.
It has to be Omir, in my opinion. It has to be a goal and an assist.
This is going to sound weird to say. It's Stefan.
No, I think that's a good call.
He's been so up and down. When he's good, he's amazing. When he's not so good, we lose because of saves that should have been stopped. This is one of those games where he has to play lights out to support all of the pressing that we're going to need to do to beat a team like Minnesota. Right. We're going to need 3 goals to win this.
Which doesn't seem to be a problem for this team.
Surprisingly.
But how many how many does the other team score? So that's where I'm saying, like, we're going to need to score, but Stefan's going to have to keep the other team from scoring 3 goals. We give up a lot of goals.
I have one that also might seem a little weird, but I think this needs to be a good Chris Armas game.
Yeah.
I think, I'll preface this by saying I don't necessarily completely blame him for going defensive with a lead at your biggest rival, right? And I don't blame him for trying these things. Those are things that every team needs to be able to do. You have to be able to go defensive and win, right? And in order to do that, you need minutes together doing that, right? And so, did it suck that they've blown it a few times? Yes, but he knows Ramsey very well. He knows what he likes on a soccer field. He knows how he wants to play.
But same thing could be said about Ramsey and Armas.
No, you're right. No, you're absolutely right. But they're at home. Mm-hmm. They need a big response after that loss. I want to see from the start, and they've started very well in these games, right? That hasn't been a problem at all. The Rapids have been able to start. But I want to see what the game plan is with a lead. I want to see no doubt that the subs are intentional and make sense with the game flow. You'll see it from the start. It'll be really quick whether this is a good Armas game or just another Armas game. But I think this is a big one for him in terms of can we really see it? Right?
Yeah. And I think one that we didn't mention is also Jordy.
That's who I was going to say, and then I flipped to Stefan.
Yeah, you're going to need a guy that can break those lines in that final third. You're going to need a guy that's going to be dangerous, and you're going to push back Minnesota even more and make him worry every time that he gets the ball. That's going to be a big one. And I think also another 2 guys that we didn't mention, it's going to be Bombi and Maxu need to have a bounce-back game after allowing 5 goals. It does fall on them, whether it's their fault directly or not. It's their defensive line that they messed up. They're the leaders of that line.
Yep.
And I think they're going to need a bounce-back game in order to keep Lod and Pookie and all these guys in check.
Oof.
Because it's going to be a hard game.
That's honestly, like, Pookie. To me, the easiest bet out of all of these is that Bombi and Maxu are going to have a good bounce-back game. Like, I was shocked that they didn't have a good game because I'm so used to seeing them have a good game. Yeah. I think they're going to come out pretty pissed. And I think we're going to see a good game from both of those guys.
And Pookie is not ready to have to get past Bombi and run into Maxu. He is not going to love that.
Well, that's awful. Like, you really think about that, like how comfortable you are as a player, and then you're getting chased down by the Flash, and you run into the Hulk. Like, what a bummer.
And it's not just like the Flash. It's like the Flash yelling at you the whole time. I'm going to catch you. I'm going to catch you. And then you got the Hulk in front of you just being like, don't get near me, dude. I'm not going to let you. But again, that doesn't take away from how good Pookie is. Pookie is still an elite player. For sure. That's a guy you got to watch out for completely, and it's going to be a scary task, regardless how good Bombi and Maxu have been.
Yeah, totally.
I think it also, to kind of wrap up the Jordy thing, is it's going to put a lot more pressure on the team to get him the ball.
Sure.
That's been one of the biggest complaints. Teams got to get him the ball if we want to see him really have that breakout and really be able to influence the offense.
Yeah,
for sure.
And that's why I think the diamond's so important for him.
Yes.
Because it gives him fluidity. If he wants to push out left, he can. Cole can push up
fill in. Yeah.
And then same thing on the right. You get that same kind of basis. That's why I kind of like that a lot. And you take advantage of the depth you have at midfield and the talent you have at midfield.
For sure.
Just to really quickly answer Jess's question. Jess, thanks for hopping in the Toyota chat. Good to see everybody in there. He's been inconsistent. How does someone as tenured as him make the mistakes he does? Look, I mean, you forget how much time he missed. He had knee surgery last summer, missed all winter. That whole first half of that championship season he wasn't a part of, right?
Yep.
So he is getting into game shape. Now he is a regular and he's played at high levels before, so maybe some of these mistakes you're not used to, but I think it's part of just shaking some rust off, and I think by game 20 he'll be flying. I just like that misplay on that easy shot, that's catching practice, and instead of catching it, he hit it down right into RSL, gives up a goal, right? And that's a mistake that won't happen once you get those minutes back under you and your game shape back up.
Also, you got to remember, even though he's just a goalkeeper, like there are tactics when it comes to goalkeeping as well. There are things that you're taught to do in certain teams. That's an obvious mistake, of course, but usually Zach with the ball at his feet a lot, and he's incredible at that. that's something that Pep instilled in him because that's what he asked all of his goalies. You got to instill any tactic from Armas now. Like, what do you want from me? Do you just want me to be a shot stopper goalkeeper, or do you also need me to be a player
and
play the ball when needed so we can build out of the back? And those are very daunting tasks sometimes for your player to do when you're playing with your hands and your feet, that you lose focus. Maybe how Mitch said, he just needs to get back into that form again and get back into rhythm. But it's still very disappointing seeing it from a high-end player.
But it's tough. It's tough to come back from knee surgery in any sport, in any position. It's not easy.
And it's not excuses. It's more like trying to follow the rabbit hole to see where it ends, right?
And it's not like he transferred to another European team where all of a sudden he gets to play as soon as that transfer happens, and he's playing in January. He doesn't play until the end of February.
Yeah.
Right? And so it just takes some time to get there, but I think he'll get there. Man, that the sweeper keeper stuff he was doing against Vancouver.
Exactly.
It's like you see it. Like it is there. Now he probably wants back 2 or 3 plays against Salt Lake. That's fine.
But that's a Pep thing, right? Like Pep has all sleeper keepers, guys that he needs to be able to play with the ball at his feet. Like that's who he wasn't taught at European levels for the last 4 years or whatever it's been.
All right, guys. As we do before every game, we throw out our predictions there. Who wants to go first this week, fellas?
I'll go first.
All right.
I'll go 2-2 Rafa brace.
2-2.
Yeah.
Draw.
How's
that game flow work? Head early or come back?
I think they go up 2-1. And around the 88th minute, they let go. They let the next one in, and it's a draw.
I don't want to do that. I hope you're wrong.
I think that's going to happen, honestly.
Dwayne, what you got?
I think 3-2 Rapids because I need them to win. This is totally based on what I need. and I need the Rapids to win at home. So 3-2, let's say Bombi on a corner. Georgie on like some weird bounce off his hip, shin, thigh kind of Georgie goal that he does. Yeah, kind of one of those Georgie goals. And Rafa.
Love that. Look, they have come back from losses very well this season, right? They lost to San Jose. They smoked Vancouver at home, right? And that's the most recent one. But outside of blowing the Nashville game, which would have been a huge response after the Portland loss to start the season, they've shown that they can recover and they can game plan and they can fix mistakes and they can get a result. This is one of those games. I think they win 2-0. I think Rafa keeps the streak going. And I think Kevin Cabral scores a goal. Can't believe I said that out loud.
Love that.
But that's where we are. That's what I think happens. Start the plugs, baby.
DNV _Rapids on Twitter. Follow us there. We really appreciate it. If you're watching on Twitter, hop onto the YouTube channel. Give us a like there. We really appreciate it. 5-star review wherever you hear this podcast, whether it's on Apple, Spotify, no matter where. Just give us a 5-star review. We really appreciate it. And subscribe to the channel. I don't know if I said that already, but that helps out everybody in DNVR.
Dwayne?
For all the reasons we talked earlier about all these events, plus discounts in the bar, free t-shirt of your choice, now's the perfect time to become a diehard. Get in there, become a part of the true community that's becoming DNVR, not just here in the bar, but across Denver as we continue to see it grow.
Yeah, for sure. Become a diehard. It's a big deal. It supports us. Follow us on YouTube. Like and subscribe, all that. I mean, it's a big deal for us. Follow us on Twitter. Interact with us. You know, we're putting content out there. We're putting questions out there. We're trying to be a hub for the Rapids community like you guys and help amplify those voices and those stories. And you know, it only helps with you guys jumping in and riding with us. And we really appreciate all of that you guys have been. Toyota chat popping again today as per usual. Great to have everybody in the chat. Man, I finished about 40 seconds early. Should we just end it?
Yeah, we're fine.
All right. You know the deal, baby. Up the Pids.
We all silly like the mayor.